Hello folks, this is Sullla once again. You're listening to another video for League of Legends, and in this one we're going to be focusing on Kassadin, as played by FallenAsylum. This is taken from one of our team ranked games from last week. In this game we're going to have FallenAsylum playing mid as Kassadin. We also are going to have Speakaway playing as Evelyn, and jungling we're going to have K-Hop playing as Shen. We're going to have me, Sullla, playing as support Zyra, and we're going to have Varusnox playing as Draven. Then on the other side, we have a team made up of Ezreal, Twisted Fate, Soraka, Jace, and Rammus, with, you can see the team name there, Poning with Style, and all that little jazz. Okay, so a few notes on scheduling before we get started here today. Last week, ended up not having the custom games, was going to do them on a different day, and ended up just not having them because I got caught up watching the North American LCS games and ended up just not having the custom games. Today is a Wednesday. Today I am actually going to be out again. I am not sure if I'm going to be back in the evening in time to do the games. We will try to do the custom games sometime later this week. Not exactly sure which day that is. It might be Saturday perhaps instead, which I'm sure would be nice for some of the European people who have difficulty with the time zones normally. So we'll see. I'll try to put up some more information on that later. But I probably will not be around tonight. That is this particular Wednesday. So just letting people know. In general, we will still try to have them on Wednesday nights. Anyway, so we've got the game set up. You might notice these white little bars here. This is, I believe, an indicator of the crowd control status, and it appears to have been introduced in this most recent replay. Hopefully they will fix this later on in spectator mode. It's a little bit distracting, but I guess it's not that big of a deal. We were set up down here. We were looking to invade at the start of the game was our idea. We thought that we would try to do something at level 1 and try to go after their blue buff or something like that. Their team is hanging out trying to protect that. Note that their Jace player is not with them though. So we will try to go with that. But the laning matchups are going to be fairly straightforward in this game. It's going to be K-Hop Shen up in top lane against their Jace player. We're going to have, in bottom lane, we're going to have Draven and Zyra against their Ezreal and Soraka pairing. In mid, it's going to be, then finally, it's going to be Twisted Fate on their side up against our Kassadin being played by FallenAsylum. And we're, again, going to look to try to take their blue here at the start of the game, so we'll go ahead and do that. Rammus, they saw that we were there. He is, what exactly is he doing? I have not watched this in spectator mode. It looks like he's going to do a red start. He has been delayed a little bit. This is before the most recent patch. This is before the 3.8 patch. So this is back when the jungle camps did spawn at the non-red and blue buff spawned at 140 instead of 155, so just keep that in mind. But otherwise, I don't think there were any major changes to any of these champions in that patch that just came out. Okay, so we're going to be looking at Kassadin in this. I have done some stuff with Kassadin before, but I don't think I've done anything with Kassadin in some time. Kassadin has always been more popular in Europe than he has been in North America. Always been much more favored in EU for some reason. I'm not exactly sure why. Always some champs that different regions like more than others. Kassadin has sort of a very specific role, and that is he is a counter to other mages in the mid lane. By the way, there's fight for this blue buff. Anyway, as I said, he sort of has a very specific role as a counter to other mages because of the way that his silence works. And right here, we've been able to force out the flash from Rammus, but not going to turn into a kill. So that blue buff move early on did, in fact, work out for us in this particular team because we managed to deny Rammus his blue, and he was not able to get our blue. Anyways, I said Kassadin is an assassin. Well, I didn't say that before. Should have. Is sort of an assassin-y mage. He has a very weak early game, but gets stronger and stronger as the game goes on. Has very good mobility. One of the highest mobility champs. And he is very good at countering other mages, is sort of what makes his playstyle work. One of the big disadvantages, as I mentioned, is his early game. Early game is very weak. That's because Kassadin is melee. He, you know, does not get to hit creeps from range, and that puts him at a disadvantage against a lot of other mids. But the longer the game goes on, the stronger he tends to get against them. The way that Kassadin wants to be played is you want to survive the first 6 levels to level 6. Then after that, you want to start roaming the map, picking off kills, and generally chasing people down with your high mobility and going off of that. So anyway, let's go ahead and look at some of the skills here, shall we? Go ahead, his passive here is Voidstone. Kassadin takes reduced magic damage, converts this damage into bonus attack speed. A bit of a bizarre passive. I believe that they've changed this since he came out. He's had some different stuff here. But anyway, magic damage reduction is always nice, and that's designed to help him lane early on when he's kind of weak. Kassadin is very weak against AD. AD champs, you know, there was one WCG game I remember a long time ago where someone famously played Kassadin in mid, and then the North American team picked Tryndamere against Kassadin and like super duper hard countered the Kassadin in mid, and I actually put that up on the channel ages and ages ago. But anyway, so Kassadin, like I said, he's designed to counter squishy mages in mid, as you see a first blood going down in bottom lane where basically I screwed up. Essentially in bottom lane, they out-sustained us with their Soraka-Ezreal combo, whereas we did not have that sustain. Okay, so I've got the passive. His Q, this is sort of his bread and butter laning skill. Null Sphere, Kassadin fires a Void Bolt, it deals magic damage, and it silences the target. And I believe the silence does go up with more points in the skill. I will double check this, and yes it does. The silence does go up. So this is why he's so good at countering most mages. Again, mages are reliant on their spells, generally speaking. So the silence prevents them from using them. So like right there, Twisted Fate gets silenced, and that allows us to set up the Eve gank with Freak Away. Twisted Fate will flash away, but his flash is burned, and he will be very, very vulnerable for the next 4 minutes. And we'll see if we can come back and do something later on. Actually, oh, here comes Rammus in, so let's watch what goes on here. Rammus comes in. Looks like Rammus didn't know that Eve was there, and the Power Bowl is not going to do much of anything. Wow, okay. So these white bars are apparently not the crowd control indicator. They're just the mana bars are showing up as white for some reason. Wow, okay. Oh, wow. Weird, but yeah. They're just white instead of blue for some reason. Okay, well, anyway, as I said, Null Sphere is Kassadin's most common skill. He uses this in laning. You max this first. It's one reason why he's so strong is because when other mages try to trade with them, he silences them, and he prevents them from trading back with him. Okay, so Q, level up first, and the silence goes up. I believe it's like 2.4 seconds, something like that at max duration, and that is a brutally long silence. Okay. Next skill is his W. This is, generally speaking, his 1-point skill. Put 1 point in this early and just leave it there. There is a passive function. Kassadin gets mana back on auto attacks, and he gets more back for enemy champs. This is to help, again, to help him lane, generally speaking. Gets mana back on auto attacks, and there is an active function too. For 5 seconds, his basic attacks deal an extra 30 magic damage with a scaling AP ratio. So again, this is to help him auto attack. There is an active function. Note that it costs almost no mana to use, 25 mana. Still, Kassadin is not exactly an auto attacker. He is a mage champion, a mage auto attacker. So you're not going to be using this one too often. You pretty much put 1 point in this and just leave it there. AD Kassadin is not really a thing. Let's just put it that way. Okay, next up, his E, Force Pulsar. This is a very unusual spell. This is Kassadin's highest damaging spell. Kassadin draws energy from spells cast in his vicinity, gains a charge whenever a spell is cast near him. Upon reaching 6 charges, he can use Force Pulse to deal magic damage, and it also slows enemies in a cone in front of him. Note though that this one you can't just use every time it's off cooldown. Cooldown's relatively short, 6 seconds, but there is... you do have to stack up charges of this skill to be able to use it. As I said, this is his highest damaging skill, and it also slows in a cone in front of him. So you will see this used periodically. It's also useful for wave clear. Come on, Fallen, use this skill at some point. I guess he's keeping it charged up. So you do have to be careful about using this, because you won't have it up at all times. But it does deal a lot of damage. It slows, and this is part of what makes Kassadin's combo so interesting, because of the way it functions with his Q, and the way it functions with his ult. So let's look at his ult, shall we? His ult is Rift Walk. There was the Force Pulse right there. Ult is Rift Walk. It is on a very short cooldown, on only a 6-second cooldown, and this goes down as you level up and put more points in it. Kassadin teleports to nearby location, deals magic damage. Each subsequent Rift Walk deals additional magic damage, also costs more mana. Stacks up to 10 times, although if you try to use it that much, you will run yourself out of mana very, very fast. But basically, this is a free flash. It deals damage to wherever you target. This is what gives Kassadin such great mobility. He basically has a free flash on like a 5 or 6 second cooldown, and it deals magic damage on the target. Again, you can stack up Rift Walk. You will deal more damage, but you can also run yourself out of mana incredibly fast by doing this. Used to be, I believe it used to be even more insane before they changed some of the numbers around. But anyway, this is what makes Kassadin such a strong counter to other mage champions in mid. You blink in, you silence, you silence them, you blink in, you get in an auto attack or two, you hit them with your force pulse, and then you blink back out. And they're silenced for most of that duration, so they're not able to use skills. And because mages typically rely on their skills to deal damage, allows Kassadin to out-trade people. Kassadin is also extremely good at chasing people down. As I mentioned, has really high mobility. He can rift walk after them, blink in, he slows them with the force pulse, they're silenced so they can't flash away. So really, really good stuff. Anyway, let's keep an eye on what's going on here. Their TF player goes to bottom lane. We are going to use the Shen ult to jump in, but the Shen ult actually gets canceled by a Rammus taunt at the last second. We're also going to teleport in with Kassadin. And this looked like a really good fight, but because the Shen teleport got interrupted, it's actually going to get turned around horribly. And their team ends up going 2 for 0 in that fight. It looked like it was going to be a 4 for 3 in a 4-on-3 in our favor, but they canceled the teleport from Shen, and they were able to turn that around. And they actually now have a pretty nice lead down here. This was not a great game for our bottom lane. Varus and I did not do a very good job. We really should have won this matchup. We were blue side, Draven and Zyra, and we really should have gotten ahead in this lane, but we were unable to do so. And now they're just making use of that sustain. And because Ezreal's 3-0, he's got a 1,000 gold lead, and now we're not going to be able to do anything. And they're also going to look to take Dragon off this as well. So we put ourselves in a bit of a hole here. And we were not in the greatest situation in this game, but we were doing pretty well in top lane, if I remember this correctly. Yeah, we got a kill in top lane earlier, and we wanted to look to try to snow this game off of top and to try to snowball this game off of mid. So that was going to be our objective because bottom lane just was not going well. Okay, so there is the standard Kassadin combo. Blinks in, silences, uses the Force Pulse. So, blink in with Rift Walk. Keep tossing out that Null Sphere. This is, I should mention, this is not a skill shot. This is point and click harass, so it cannot be dodged. Like I said, you blink in, you silence, you use the Force Pulse, maybe get in an auto attack with Netherblade, but the idea is you just out-trade them, and there's not really a whole lot they can do about it. There it is, the blink in, the silence, and it looks like there were not enough stacks on the Force Pulse in order to get in the silence. Actually, maybe so. It looks like it might have been on cooldown, or maybe Fallen just didn't execute the combo as well as he would like. So, as mentioned this before, in terms of skilling order, generally speaking, people level up the Q first. It's your best farming tool. It is kind of your only ranged ability on Kassadin, because your auto attacks are not ranged. Also, that silence goes up. Note that it goes to 2.6 seconds at max rank. That is a very long silence duration. So Q first, E second, and here we go. We've got the silence in on TF. Here comes Freakway for the Eve gank. And we're going to pick that one off without too much trouble right there. TF was silenced. Did he have his flash up? No, he still did not have flash up from the previous exchange. So that was a pretty easy kill. And down here in bottom lane, is Varus going to be able to survive this? No, needed to dodge that Mystic shot, but ran up against the wall, and that's where it's hardest to dodge skill shots. So yeah, that lane not going so well. But we did get a kill mid, and that's going to help us out. Again, Kassadin, we want to snowball Fallen's Kassadin ahead. Note also the build that he's going for here. Fallen does not even have boots. He's just gone for the straight up, late game build here. Has built the Tear of the Goddess, so he's stacking that up towards a future Archangel Staff, a future Seraph's Embrace. Also has the Catalyst for a future Rod of Ages. So he is, building for the late game and building up to become very, very strong later on. So we'll keep an eye on that. Note that their team also has pink wards everywhere. They have a pink in mid. They're doing a good job of trying to counter our Spreakaway jungle, our Evelyn jungle. Right now, though, they're going to use the Twisted Fate ult to come in here, but we're going to use that Shen ultimate on top of Spreakaway. Let's see if he can manage to run out of this one. So we're able to pick up 1 kill on Jace. The wild cards come out. K-Hop is doing a nice job of just sticking on their TF player here. We'll get the gold card out. And are they going to escape? Yeah, we're going to disengage from this. Unfortunately, though, things not going so well down here in bottom lane. Our bottom lane, as we said, got way, way, way behind, and now they're just punishing our bottom lane. And Rammus was down there as well. But we were able to get a kill in top lane. Oh, K-Hop is very low. Is he going to be able to survive this? He's on 90 HP, 60 HP. Just barely able to escape. Anyway, they are trying to die for Snox under the tower. We are going to have FallenAsylum look to come in here. Going to look to try and clean up this fight, or at least hold the tower. That Ezreal is pretty low. Rammus still hanging around, trying to clear the creep waves. A lot of life bars blinking red right here. One thing about Kassadin, though, is when you are around enemy champions, every time they use a skill, that does give you charges on your E. See, there's the Force Pulse charges. So, when you're around other champions in a team fight, that will get stacked up really quickly. And I'm actually pinking this ward to clear it out because we saw where they had vision. Anyway, though, going to go back to mid lane and going to look to continue farming up and continuing to get stronger. Note that Fallen still does not have boots. He probably maybe should have picked up boots, but went for a Blasting Wand instead and is looking to rush that Rod of Ages. Their team left mid alone a little bit here. But as I've said, Kassadin does scale really well. He's going to look to take, Fallen's going to look to take our blue buff right now. And we're going to look, as I said, to try and scale this game off of FallenAsylum's Kassadin. And of course, we still have a Shen, who's very good late game. And Eve actually scales pretty well too. Eve outscales Rammus by a pretty good margin. Rammus, very good in the laning phase, really good at catching people out. Not so great at team fighting, not really one of his strengths. Not the worst champion, but far from the best. Rammus is early and mid game are much better than his late games. Okay, so we've got the blue buff on FallenAsylum, was able to go and pick that up. Breakaway is just grabbing some farm in mid. I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, pick up some of these creeps. In terms of the actual farm here in mid lane, Fallen is at 97, the Twisted Fate is at 95, and that is a huge win for our team. There is a combo, look at that, see, blinks in, silences, Force Pulse, and Twisted Fate loses about a third of his health. And there's really nothing he can do about that, because Twisted Fate gets countered by Kassadin, as a lot of other mages do. So this was a direct straight-up counter pick here. And the longer this game goes on, the harder it's going to be for Twisted Fate to deal with that harass. There it is, the blink in, the silence, and yeah, TF is now down to a third health. And there's not really a whole lot he can do about this. That's just what Kassadin does. Now that we've gotten past Kassadin's early weak levels, Fallen is in a strong position. The biggest issue right now is kind of his mana cost. That's why he's stacking up that tier. But you saw how badly TF just got harassed out of lane. And like I said, that's the strength of Kassadin. Anyway, down here though, we're looking to pull off a Spreakaway gank. Note that Spreakaway believe he has that red buff. No, he actually does not have red. Anyway, they are going to use TF ult. And oh, that Soraka's on 1 hit, or 2 hits. Can we get this kill? Come on, Varus. Where's that kill? There, the stand aside's going to pick that off. Unfortunately, Spreakaway was tanking the tower. We'll go down. It ends up being a 2-for-1 in our favor if we can get Varus Nox out of here in some way. Is that Shen up off of cooldown? Yes, it is. And there is the Shen ult, and that's why we first picked Shen in our team rank game. Going to come in here, and Fallen will chase that down using that Rift Walk. Kassadin is one of the best in the game at cleaning up the end of team fights. Very, very good at that. Just like your blue buff Ezreal, just like a lot of your other high mobility champions, they excel at cleaning up the bottom end or back end of team fights. Anyway, Ezreal ult will fly through, will not hit Varus Nox. Fortunately for us, he would have died to a True Shot Barrage, but doesn't end up hitting him. And we're going to back off that team fight. We did lose top lane for that, but was still a good fight for us regardless. We went 3-for-1 in that fight, and we got a killing bounty on, let's see, who is Joseph? We got Ezreal's killing spree as well, because he was 5-0 at the time. So that was pretty worthwhile for us. We managed to close the gold gap. I mean, it's still pretty high. It's still about 2.5 thousand gold, but we managed to make some good stuff happen. Dragon is now up. We're going to look to bring K-Hop down and look to fight for this dragon. There, Rammus is coming over here, but he is a bit low, so we'll see if we can come over here. And note that Rammus is, you know, down at about half health, so we're going to look to come in, and we might have a pretty big fight. Varus Nox is not here, but other than that, we're in good shape. There's the silence coming in onto that Twisted Fate once again. They have taken a lot of damage from doing Dragon. I'm going to die, but I do get off my Zyra ult, and that's the main thing. So now we've got a big-time team fight going on. Who is going to get this Dragon? There is going to be taken by their team, but we did get the kill on Rammus, and now Varus Nox enters the fight, and he is going to clean up his Draven. That's going to be a triple kill for Spreakaway's Eve. Bit of a confused team fight there, but we managed to clean up that fight. They got Dragon, but we went 5-for-2, and that was very worthwhile. It was also kind of a coin flip there. Spreakaway could have gotten that Dragon, actually was not able to get off the smite. It actually was killed by their Twisted Fate player. So, like I said, a bit of a confusing team fight, and oh no! Spreakaway was tanking the turret. GGG indeed. But they do not get a kill for that because no one had hit him in recent memory. But anyway, we got 5 kills. We got the tower mid. and that's going to pull us much closer in the game. The other team had a pretty nice early game lead, but they kind of forced that dragon. It wasn't the best dragon for them to do. They were able to get it, but the cost too high. We picked up a ton of kills on Evelyn in that fight. Triple kill on Eve. So Spreakaway has now started to snowball ahead in this game. Let's see. He already has most of his core build done. He's got the Spirit of the Elder... Hold on. Let me pull up his items here. He's got the Spirit of the Elder Lizard done. And this is pre-nerf Spirit of the Elder Lizard, by the way. Back when it gave 45 attack damage, despite what it's saying there. Also has the Haunting Guys, the Sork Shoes, and the Sheen is building towards that Iceborne Gauntlet, I believe. So he's getting very strong. And Fallen has started to scale really well, too. Has picked up the Rod of Ages. Now finally has boots. Again, you see him jump in there. Silence did not get off the E, did not get off the Force Pulse. Note that Force Pulse has now been maxed. Oh, Rammus is going to come in, but oh, I'm sorry. This is a Kassadin. You can't gank a Kassadin. In comes Spreakaway to try and turn this gank around. There is the silence so that Rammus cannot flash away. Does he have his flash up anyway? No, didn't have his flash up. So going to get cleaned up very, very easily on the back end of that due to, due to just Eve coming in invisible and the strength of Kassadin's mobility. It's really hard to get away from Kassadin. Oh my, look at that E, that Force Pulse dealt a lot of damage, and now we're going to go in. The Eve ult comes out. Spreakaway does have red buff. In comes the Shen ult as well. The Shen ult's going to hit, just going to hit the Soraka, I think, but that is going to pick her off. We've turned this fight around. Ezreal's going to blink away. Is Spreakaway going to be able to pick off this kill? He goes in. He wants it. There comes the barrier. And, well, we are going to get that kill. Is Fallen going to die to tower? Yes. So, maybe not worth it in the end. Maybe not worth it. And now in comes Jace. He's going to pick off a kill. I'm going to get cleaned up on the back end of that. So, a bit of a sloppy fight. I think that is a 3 for 3 overall. Maybe a little bit too much diving on our team. The one thing that this has done is it has bought time for Verisnox to get this bottom tower. So, net result of all this is kills traded on either side, and we're going to get a tower in bottom. So, it comes out as a win for us, but we really could have played that better. The initial fight was really good for us, but we got a little bit greedy, and we ended up, I'd say, giving away too much diving this tower. I felt a little bit sad about dying here. I died like right here. I was walking over to put a ward in this brush because I knew Jace would be coming down, but he came down from lane a little bit faster than we would have liked. Got there maybe a second or two sooner than we would have liked, and was able to pick off that kill. Anyway, though, that said, we still have really completely caught up here in gold. Note that it's dead even in gold now, whereas we were a good, I think, 3,000 to 4,000 gold behind, and our team is looking to scale better into late game than their team. Yes, they have Twisted Fate. Yes, they have blue buff Ezreal. Yes, they have Jace, but we have some champions that are going to be very strong in late game as well. Fallen has picked up another blue buff. He's now finished the Archangel Staff. He's stacking it up towards that Seraph's Embrace. Let's see how far along he is. He almost has it done, actually. Quite a long way, pretty far along on that, so doing a good job there. Also, if we check out some of the scaling on these skills, let's look at this. So, Null Sphere has been maxed, plus 184. That looks like about plus 6 AP ratio, roughly, something like that. If you check out the Force Pulse, note that the Force Pulse deals, let's see, actually it deals almost the same. It has a very slightly higher AP ratio. No, never mind, it has the exact same one. Looks like about 0.6, 0.65, something like that. Meanwhile, there is a big team fight going on here mid, so let's keep an eye on that. I've been caught out and going to end up getting picked off again. We did go 1 for 1 there. Was able to get off the Zyra ult before I was killed right there. Not my best game. 0-6. Not my best game. Anyway, though, we're coming over to try and defend this. Here comes FallenAsylum. I believe that we're going to have to give up this turret, though. There are 4 members of them here. Shen's in top lane. K-Hop's ult is just coming off cooldown. So that was not a great exchange for us. We went 1 for 1 in kills, but they got a tower off it. So not the best exchange, as you might well imagine. Fallen picking up a little bit more farm. His farm has been pretty good in this game. Could have been higher. It's a bit of a low farm game. They are coming top for K-Hop, but it looks like he's going to manage to get out of here before they get up to top lane, and not even close, baby, as they like to say. So able to get out of that particular engagement. More farming here. Their team is doing something in top lane. Not really all that much going on. So we'll just look at the items again while we're at it. Let's see. Fallen's going back. I'm assuming he's going to pick up Sork Shoes here on this particular buy. Let's see what he goes ahead and grabs. There they are. There's the Sork Shoes. I did not go ahead and watch this before. And he has finally finished his Seraph's Embrace. So that's good. He'll be able to go for more AP. probably either a death cap or, let's see, against this team, their team's pretty AD heavy, so maybe like a Zanya's next. Anyway, they are going to go in. They're going in after me, apparently, I think, and we're going to turn around and look to team fight this. A great Shen taunt comes in, taunts 3 people right there, and we're going to look to tie up Jace. He was hit by a Zyra Root. Did get off a nice root there. Another Shen taunt comes out. I don't know if that hit anyone, but we're going to pick off Twisted Fate. Now we're focusing that Soraka. Soraka has no natural escapes. Draven ult comes out, not going to kill anyone, but will chase them away. And not going to be able to get out of that one miles per hour. Not going to be able to escape that. Now Ezreal's trying to disengage. He's going to blink out of that one. But we just went 3 for 0 in that team fight. We caught them overextended just a little bit. We had a great Shen taunt come in from Gayhop. And then Fallen came in on the cleanup duty. We're going to look to do this Baron. They do not have a ward here. Check out their vision. No warding. Their jungler is up, so it's a little bit dangerous, but Rammus went back to base, and they're just going to concede this Baron to us. And that was really the fight that we needed. Up to this point in time, the game had been pretty close. Yeah, Ezreal ult going to come in, but it's a little bit too late there, unfortunately for their team. Up to this point, the game had been pretty close overall. I mean, their team had really won early game. They snowballed that bottom lane pretty hard. But that fight, we had some good fights in mid-game, and now that feels like the fight that's going to swing this game. And oh no, look at Jace is going to come in here, going to get silenced, but the rest of us are not going to turn and engage. We had the Dragon timed. We said, hey, you know what? We did Baron. Dragon's about to spawn. We should do Baron. We should do Dragon before we head back to base to buy. Their team obviously did not have Dragon timed because none of them were anywhere close to it. What should have happened there is their team should have rushed Dragon. If they had taken a timer properly, they would have known it was about to spawn. They could have rushed Dragon because, you know, we were still beat up from the Baron. And they would have been able to get that Dragon that would have given them a little bit of free gold. But obviously they did not have it timed, and they kind of ran off to random parts of the map. They were up here in the top. So we were able to take Baron and also take Dragon as well. And that's opened up a 4K gold lead, 4,000 gold. And we've also now all gone back to buy, or we will once Fallen goes back to base. So everybody's had a chance to go back, buy. Or wait a minute, I think K-Hop. Okay, actually K-Hop and Varus still need to go by as well. So once they do that, we'll be able to look to push and really go after this thing. Fallen has picked up a needlessly large rod. Whether this is for a death cap or like a Zanya's Hourglass, I don't know, but he's going for one of them, going for one of his big target items. He now has 400 AP, and now this is where Kassadin really starts to become dangerous because you see the damage on his skills. Silences for 2.6 seconds and deals like 550 damage, something like that. Let's see, his Rift Walk itself, yeah, look at look how much damage a Rift Walk deals. Oh my goodness, so you see the damage he did to Ezreal? One combo and Ezreal's down. Oh, so low. The Draven ult comes out, gets the double hit, would not have killed Ezreal, uses the barrier, was not necessary, but we managed to chunk Ezreal super duper hard and force out that barrier from him, so wow. But yeah, I mean, you see how the damage just starts to pile up in late game on people, on late game Kassadin. Anyway, there's the engagement. We're going to go in. Evault comes out, and people just blowing up for their team. They should not have tried to defend that tower. Now we're going to get Soraka as well. Fallen will pick up that kill. We're able to use the Evault. We're able to use the Zyra Root, and we're going to get that kill as well. Fallen just jumping in. Rammus, why are you trying to defend this tower 1v5? That's a triple kill for Fallen, just cleaning up these fights so hard. And that's an ace, and was just a terrible sequence. And let's go back and watch this fight again, shall we? Just so we can see how this actually went down. Okay, I'm going to rewind it a little bit. This video is, you know, not going to be too much longer at this point. So let's just go back and watch what happens, shall we? So we'll watch and see what happens. I'll go ahead and let's see. There's the Ezreal ult comes out. They get in some good poke, but I'm going to slow it down. Right there, we catch them coming forward. So there's the Shen taunt, hits 2 of them. Evault comes out. There's the Zyra ultimate going to come down. And we just blow them up at the front end of this fight using our crowd control. Then we're going to shift the focus to Soraka. She's going to go down. Again, really good at chasing down fights. Okay, so we're going to finish off the tower. Now, Ezreal comes in after me. I missed the Zyra Roots, but going to just get absolutely blown up by Fallen. And, well, you can see what happens here at this point. Rammus tries to defend by himself, and that's just not going to work out. So, there we go. Ace, 5 for 0. Went back and looked at that. Yeah, I mean, they just got caught trying to defend a tower with 3 people. Against 5 of us, and against 5 of us with Baron. And they just really should not have picked that fight. I mean, that was the main problem there. Should have given up this tower, pulled back, defended this tower, and waited until they had all 5 members of their team. I mean, really? That started off of Ezreal getting chunked down. He, you know, when he got initiated on by Fallen's Kassadin, he got chunked super hard. He had to go back to heal, and because he went back to heal, because he was back in the fountain, he wasn't there for this fight at the tower, and that really set up the whole sequence. So anyway, team looks to go and take this tower. Really not the best play. I thought we were backing. That's why I'm way off here in Nowhere's Land. Thought that we were not. I thought that we were just backing here, so I went to ward up another part of the map. But we are, in fact, fighting. We're going to pick off 1 kill on Rammus. We do get the tower. Still not sure that this is the best fight for us to be engaging. Jace is going to jump in. Going to initiate on Spreakaway. Spreakaway will fall. Now Varusnox, he's Draven. Draven doesn't really have escapes. He's going to look to turn and kill that. Look to get a kill there. Meanwhile, Twisted Fate's going to use his ult, and Varusnox is now going to run this way. There's another kill elsewhere on the map. Varus going to use his barrier. Can he 1v1 against his Twisted Fate? More action going on elsewhere, but we'll stick with this fight, and yes, he is going to get that. And we cleaned up the fight elsewhere. Fallen picking off more kills elsewhere on the map as well. Could rewind, but I've already rewound before. So that looked like a bad fight, but we ended up going 5 for 1 again. Yeah, we ended up going 5 for 1 yet again. And that has just put us even further ahead in the global gold. Rammus is clearing mid where the super creeps are located. And we're going to use the death timers to go ahead and clear this bottom inhib as well. Fallen has really just started to scale out of control. This is what happens when Kassadin gets, is sitting there with an 8-2-9 scoreline. There's just not a whole lot you can do once Kassadin gets his fed in. Fallen's going to go in again, which is really not the best idea. Way too aggressive, but he is Kassadin. He does have his Rift Walk, so you can play really aggressively with Kassadin and still manage to make it out. And Fallen's going to do exactly that, and we're going to disengage, and we're finally going to go back to base. We're sitting on, yeah, look at all this gold we're sitting on. Massive amounts of gold on everyone other than Spreakway, because, he died and went back to base. So anyway, here comes more items. Let's see what went out here. Fallen straight bought the Void Staffs. Now he's got extra Magic Pen as well. And let's check out his character stats here. So where's the Spell Pen? 23 flat, 40% Spell Pen, 24% CDR. That's coming from Blue Buff. He does not actually have any cooldown reduction. And wow, he's got picked up a Blasting Wand too. So he's going for a Death Cap here as his next item. 500 AP. And that Rift Walk is dealing a lot of damage. So wow, so Rift Walk has a 0.8 AP ratio. That's a lot of damage. Let's see, 350. Okay, so this is Force Pulse is 0.7. Yep, Force Pulse has a 0.7 AP ratio. Null Sphere is 0.7 as well. Yeah, those are pretty high ratios. 0.7 on normal abilities is quite high. And even the Nether Blade deals decent damage, but that's not sort of the key thing. Okay, so we see Rammus here, and the key thing is, okay, Rift Walk in to stop the Power Ball. And then Spreakway is right there, and the Iceborne Gauntlet's going to slow. The Silence will pick off yet another kill. We're going to look to go in here. By the way, Twisted Fate rushed an early Banshee's Veil to deal with Kassadin as well. Anyway, so the fight continuing to come in. People are just getting absolutely blown up in this fight. I'm going to get engaged upon. My positioning was not good in that fight. But we are going to get yet another triple kill right there. And now Fallen goes in yet again. Quadra kill on Ezreal. Is he going to be able to get the Penta? Oh, the Shen ult comes out to keep Fallen alive. Where is the pentakill? Are we going to be able to get this one? And Fallen, no. He's actually going to die to wild cards. And you're like, oh, that's so sad. Scumbag TF does not allow the pentakill. Prevents it from coming out. And their team is then going to surrender. And that's going to be it for this particular game. So, GG, their team surrenders as the base goes down. And we would have, killed the Nexus in another 5 seconds anyway. So, no pentakill for Fallen. I'm sure he's very disappointed about that. But you see the strength of a Kassadin game nonetheless. When Kassadin gets ahead, it's so hard to escape from him. He just sort of sits at the sides of the fight, sits a little bit off to the side, and excuse me, just picks people off. And he is so good at cleaning up team fights. But how do you stop Kassadin? Well, basically you don't let him get to this point because his early game is so weak. You don't let Kassadin get these items, because if he does, he is just going to scale exponentially, and you're going to have a really, really tough time. So their team made some mistakes, let us come back in the game, and you pretty much saw what happened. Okay, anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. As I said, I will probably not be around today. That is today, Wednesday, June the, what is it today? Today, June the 19th, so we'll probably not be around tonight. If I am, we'll do the games. If not, stay tuned to the channel. I'll let you know. We'll do them later this week. Anyway, until next time, see you guys later. Have a great week. Until next time, take care.